Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play the remake of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I'm Sam.
I'm Bernard. I'm the Fortune Arcana.
And I'm Trish. I'm gonna give myself the Empress Arcana because I'm feeling it right now.
I'm the Hermit Arcana. Let's be honest. I don't think I've drawn the curtains in this room ever. I live in a little hole and I speak into a microphone to have all of my social interactions. But before we get to wait, no, I skipped a part. Today we will be finishing Persona 3 Reload, covering the good ending of the game and a summary of all of our social links. But before we get to that, how was everyone's week?
I got 3 days off this week. And I guess, it was Labor Day weekend, but it wasn't the 3 days you'd expect. It was 3 days in the middle of the week because my work schedule is non-standard. But having 3 days off was nice.
Yeah. Did you do anything fun on your days off?
No.
Oh yeah.
So I think I've mentioned previously I'm going to be starting a new job soon. I got a job at the nearby hospital, and when I say nearby, I mean it's literally a 15-minute walk from my house. It's going to be a night job. It's full-ish time. It's a good way to get my foot in the door for the whole thing. But recently, not long after recording last episode, I went in for, like a HR signing stuff, but also like a health physical. I'm going to be in a hospital around people. And ahead of time, they're like, hey, if you could please send us your immunization records, that would be great. And I'm like, cool. I don't have those. And they're like, okay, well, you can reach out to your primary care provider and get them. And I went, okay, I haven't had an established doctor in over 10 years. So that's not an option. So instead, I have to start reaching out to different companies or different government bodies and being like, hey, do you have my immunization records? And they all said no. So I just came into the appointment, and I came in already with that light festering depressive mood where it feels like there's just like this layer of swampy muck to the bottom of my thoughts pulling everything down a little bit. And as long as I keep moving, I'll be fine. But if I stay in one place, I'm going to be sucked into just full spiraling mode. And going into the appointment, early on, they're like, oh, hey, so we see that it says some of your forms say this name, and some of them say Trish. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of doing my name change. It hasn't gone through yet. I thought it would have gone through by this point, but it still hasn't. So it's legally this for now, but it's going to be this soon. And they're like, okay, well, we do need to put the old name on. We're really sorry. We're going to put your preferred name everywhere we possibly can, but there's going to be spots where for legal reasons it just be the old one. And I'm like, okay. And I said okay, but like I was then inundated with seeing my dead name a lot. And then I had their solution for I don't have an immunization record was okay. Well, we'll just give you a tetanus shot now because it's just like a good idea to get a tetanus shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's nothing wrong with getting one. They need to be refreshed every so often. Otherwise, they're like, we'll just draw some blood and we'll use that blood to do tests and find out what immunizations you have and don't have. And then we can, if you need to immunize you for something, we can immunize you. And I was like, that's great. I hate having my blood drawn. I hate needles to start with. I don't faint. It's not like I faint thing. It's just it hurts and I don't like it and it causes me distress. And it's made worse by the fact that my arms, trying to find a vein in my arms is a phlebotomist nightmare. And so what has ended up happening from having to get my blood drawn every 3 to 6 months for my HRT is I've had to learn that they just have to go through my hands. But the problem is going through your hands fucking hurts.
Yeah, I'm the same way. They cannot get it in my arm, so that they always want to try in my arm, but at this point I'm just like, no, don't try my arm. Just go through my hand. The arm is going to be a waste of time.
Same. And they went through the hand to start with. They didn't. Literally, there was a point where I came into a phlebotomist and they poked me 4 times in each arm, and then we're like, we couldn't get enough blood for the test, so I guess come in a different day. Mm-hmm. Which great feeling. But it basically a combination of the already simmering depressive mood, and then dead name everywhere, and then they needed a lot of blood. They had to fill up a full big vial, and then like half of like 4 other vials. That were smaller at least. So it went on for a while, and near the end, I just start crying. I just start like breaking down a little bit. And the person was super nice. She was really sweet. Great nurse, and was just like, she felt bad about it, and I was like, no, you're fine. And I explained like what was going on, and she was like, hey, if you need to take time, it's like, okay, I'll keep going. And I would then go to do like the vision test, but I go to the vision test when I've been crying, and so like I'm fogging up the vision test thing from my tears. It's funny now, but in the moment it was really shit. But hey, everything's taken care of, and also it's wild going to like a doctor health checkup-y sort of thing when you're gonna be working there soon, because the vibes are totally different.
Yeah.
It's so relaxed and friendly, and I kind of adored it. It was the best. Aside from the part where I broke down crying, one of the best health appointments I've ever had in my life, because it was just like, oh, I'm just chilling with future coworkers, and they're treating me like a coworker. This is actually pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And then I got home, and I find in the mail is a letter from the courthouse about my name change.
Oh no.
And the letter says, hey, we have to put this process on hold because the notice you had published in the newspaper has an error in it. And so until that's resolved, we can't move forward with your name change. And I'm like, there's an error. The wrong date is shown. And I look, and I decide to check, and I did everything right. It's the fucking newspaper that did it wrong.
Aww.
So now, tomorrow, because this happened, I need to wait until tomorrow so I can bug either the newspaper or the court or both, and be like, hey, I didn't fuck up, you did. Fix this, goddammit. Which I probably won't say, actually. I'll be like, hi, so this is about this issue. Please, what can we do to get this resolved? Because I would really like my name changed, very please. But yeah, that's my story of the week.
Well, damn. I finished cleaning my room, and it's awesome in here now. And we're house sitting, or not house sitting, we're dog sitting for Andy's dog. I mean, Andy will be here most of the time, but Copper has some medicine he has to take every single day, and so to make sure that he's on top of that, or he's leaving him here with us so we can make sure he takes his medicine. And Satsuki hates that. She hates having a dog here real bad, and has not gone to the restroom in the restroom yesterday, and I discovered this morning. So my super awesome, super comfy Doctor Who throw blanket is gross right now.
Oh no!
And, my poor kitty. I feel so bad for her. I keep wanting to spend a whole bunch of time in here to like help her be calm and be loved and everything. But Copper is a fairly big dog who also gets super lonely and whines and barks and like gets into stuff if he doesn't have people out there. And so yesterday, Summer and Andy were out of the house to go to a wedding, and so I was like torn between two animals that needed me in different ways, and it sucked, but they're both adorable, so they get a pass. But other than that, I just have been chilling all week. It's been great. Did I talk about last week about how Storm is obsessed with VHS tapes?
I don't remember that happening.
So
but also, I don't remember anything ever.
Okay, cool. But yeah, now that my old TV is facing the couch in my room and not just at my computer desk, he's been obsessed with picking out tapes and watching them every day. And so this morning he came in my room, like got up in my bed and like whispered in my ears, like, "Can I watch a movie really quietly?" I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And so he put on Tarzan. I was like, don't watch this movie quietly. Turn that shit up. This soundtrack's too good to be quiet. And so, yeah, he's been adorable.
Amazing.
But yeah, other than that, I've been watching a lot of Social Link recaps and writing a lot of notes. So we should start talking about those.
In the Velvet Room scene at the end of January, Igor again says the power of your social links in a way that very much makes social links sound like a proper noun rather than the concept of your social links. And it's so funny to me every time he does it.
All right, so the clock strikes March 4th, and it looks a lot like the bad ending at first blush. Junpei and Totinos are talking about being third year soon and not remembering who Aigis is and all that stuff from the bad ending. But when Yukari calls out to Aigis, Aigis doesn't just Naruto run away. She says, "Oh no, it's nothing," and then Naruto runs away.
I love her so much.
Junpei is like, "Oh, she's probably interested in one of us." Speaking of which, Yukari, do you remember how we met? And Yukari's like, "No, actually. Something feels off now that I think about it." Huh. Oh well. And so the bell rings and they go inside. And then we get to control Totino's and check in on all of his social links to finish off their storylines. Up first, representing the Magician Arcana, is Kenji, our classmate.
Yay!
So as a recap, we hang out mostly with Kenji by eating ramen after school, and he's very girl crazy and tells us about his plan to ask out his teacher at school. And because we're beholden to make number go up, we always encourage him instead of telling him this is a bad idea.
I said that's a stupid idea, you dumbass.
So he goes to ask her out, but she asks him if he wants a private lesson before he can. And during the social link, I thought he was reading too much into it, but she's the third-year ethics teacher, and he's a second year, so I think he was reading the appropriate amount into it. It's kind of weird for a third-year teacher to offer to tutor you in a class that you don't have. So, hashtag Kenji did nothing wrong.
No, Kenji did a lot wrong.
Kenji did a lot wrong. So, in all of their study sessions, Miss Kano is putting pressure on Kenji to care about his future. So midway through the link, he starts to turn down our invite so that he can go and study harder. Until one day he finds the bridal magazine at her house. He's super excited, thinking that she's wanting to marry him, and so shortly after, the school finds out about the fact that Emery is dating a high schooler, and so she gets fired and transferred to another school. And Kenji wants to transfer with her, but then he sees her with her actual fiance, and we overhear her saying that she was just tutoring Kenji for her track record as a teacher, and he must have been the one spreading rumors about them. A few days of moping later, Kenji says that he doesn't know if he was in love with Emery or just in love with the idea of dating a teacher, but what he does know is that Totinos is a true friend. In March, we see that he has still learned nothing because the school is getting three new teachers, and he wants to go scope out how hot they are.
Also, there's this weird thing about how his little sister is going to start coming here, and maybe we should date her, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah, very, very weird. Because, so, all of the social links have a second tiny scene if they're, like, one of their in-world friends has something else. You can get, like, a social link talks about a social link. So, for example, when you talk to Kaz, if you've maxed Yuko, who'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I heard you're dating Yuko. Congratulations," etc., etc. And so, Kenji has one that talks about you dating Yukari, after he just said you should date my sister, and it's wild. Hashtag Kenji did a lot of things wrong.
He nearly ruined a teacher's life.
Yes.
He did.
So that brings us to our next social link representing the High Priestess Arcana is Fuka. Fuka's social link involves her learning how to cook and getting Totinos to taste test for her. She's real bad at it, but she wants to get better so that she can cook for the party to thank them for helping her find her place in the world. As the social link develops, she opens up about how she's nervous about everything, but when she's with Totinos, he helps her be brave and speak her mind. She also mentions that she's never been very good at cooking and has been more interested in machines and technology and stuff, even though that's not very ladylike. When she does finally make food for the team, they tell her that there's no need to thank them because friends don't keep score. They just were helping out a friend, which helped Fuka realize that she wasn't just cooking to pay people back, but so that she could spend more time with Totinos because she loves him. He says that he loves her too, and they go back to the dorm to Bone, where she gives Totinos headphones that she made for him. And Persona 3 Reload is high def. I would have loved if very subtly the headphones on your character thing just were retextured. Just change them from like white to blue or something. That would have been so cool, but no.
That would have been cool. But I think she actually mentioned something like, I made them look the same because I know that's your style or whatever, but it would have been cool if instead they had like changed color or something. But then the anime cutscenes wouldn't match.
Yeah, but it's already hilarious because I've been cycling through the different like outfits and stuff you can do, and so when I get a like an all out attack or whatever, they'll land in their DLC outfit, and then as they stand up, they're back in the regular outfit. So that's the anime cutscene. So in March, Fuka and Totinos head to the faculty office because Fuka wants to start a tech club. Yukota says that it's a stupid idea and she needs to get 5 members before she can start one. So Totino says that he'll join and help her find the last people. She says that she used to be ashamed of her techie side, but since Totinos helped her be so brave, she's ready to show the world who she really is, and now she wants to make some friends who share her interests because she doesn't have any because she's always hid that part of herself. She also mentions that Totinos looks a little pale today and asks if he's okay.
I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine.
She also mentioned something about like how everyone helped her, and then she's like, "Wait, who am I talking about?" Mm-hmm. And it's weird.
Yeah. Up next is Mitsuru, representing the Empress Arcana. Her social link revolves around going to a bunch of like fast food places and stuff, and not knowing how to deal with normal social situations. Like she tries ramen and hamburgers for the first time with Totinos. Growing up, she wasn't able to go to peasant places like ramen joints and burger joints, so she's approaching them like a highfalutin fancy pants, and it's hilarious.
It's really good.
She tells us that she got her motorcycle because she wanted to rebel against all of the rules in her life, and that she feels free when she's riding it. And as the link continues, Mitsuru reveals that she's been betrothed to someone for the good of the Kiryu group, and she says that she's okay with it because it's what her parents did and it's her duty, but she happens to keep asking questions about like how hard marriage is and what the meaning of love is, and she's obviously dragging her feet about it. One of the days we're hanging out, the fiance shows up and is like, "Hey, drop what you're doing and come on a date with me." And Mitsuru is like, "No." And he's like, "God, your family sucks. Good thing your dad died, right?" Totino says, "Fuck you," but Mitsuru says, "No, it's fine. I'll go with him. Sorry, Totinos, we can hang out later." And the fiance is like, "Good. You shouldn't hang around peasants like this guy." And that sets Mitsuru off. And she tells her fiance to get bent, and that Totinos faces the future with an inspiring resolve, and is twice the man that he could ever be. And she wants to be with Totinos forever. Totino says, "Ditto, babes." So they head back to the dorm to Bone. Mitsuru gives Totinos the key to her motorcycle because she won't need it for a while. She doesn't need to escape from her life anymore because she's not going to let anyone else control it anymore. In March, she talks about how she's finished her entrance exams for college and is sure that she's going to get in, so she's been packing up to leave the dorm. But she's glad that she'll have Totinos there to help her through it all, and he should meet what's left of the family in the Kirjo group sometime so that they can know who it is she's been talking about so much. She also asks
if I were Totinos, I would be fucking terrified.
Absolutely.
Oh, same. Actually, funny story. As someone who actually, my ex, who I'm still technically married to, has family that are millionaires. Let me tell you, going to visit that kind of family of the person you're dating is a whole kind of head trip and a whole lot of stress.
Yeah. She similarly has a, oh, after all the hanging out we did this year, wait, did we hang out? Wait, why are we in love? Did we even hang out? Sort of vibes. She also says that Totino's looks a little sickly and asks if he's okay.
Also, if I recall correctly, I believe her fiance in that one scene had a mid-Atlantic accent, which I find very funny.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in Japan, if you're a fancy pants boy, you gotta have a mid-Atlantic accent.
You gotta. Up next is Hidetoshi, the student council vice president and representative of the Emperor Arcana. We already discussed in a regular episode his social link and how much he sucks and is a narc. And he goes way hard on finding out who smoked in the boys' bathroom because he's trying to be student council president next year and rules are important. And in the end, he lightens up slightly because Totino's is nice to him. In March, he tells Totino's that he's not going to run for student council president and is instead going to be a teacher. He said that he used to think that change can come from rules from those in power, but he's learned that it comes better from individuals, and everyone deserves a good education, so he wants to make sure that people have a good education so they can change the world from the ground up. And makes me hate him slightly less.
His voice acting, I will say, is really good.
It is.
When he softens up, his voice acting is really good. There's like a tenderness to it that helps you like him more than you otherwise would, I think.
Yeah. Up next is Bunkichi and Mitsuko, the owners of Bookworm's bookstore. They're the old couple.
Best.
Yes.
Agreed. The best.
They are representatives of the Hierophant Arcana. Like we mentioned before, they're an adorable old couple whose son was killed by a drunk driver, and Bunkichi is starting to show signs of dementia. Their son was a teacher at GeckoCon, and after he died, they planted a persimmon tree in the courtyard. But now in 2009, the school is going to tear it down. All of their son's students get together and write a petition to the school asking them to save the tree, and they gather tons of signatures to stop it. But in the end, Bunkichi and Mitsuko ask the school to go ahead with the demolition. They are turning that courtyard into a new school building, and they think that their son would rather have more children have the opportunity to learn rather than just have some memorial. They learn that the future is more important than holding on to old memories, and it's all because of Totino's. In March, they tell Totino's that the school isn't going to just tear down the persimmon tree, but they're going to replant it on the hill overlooking campus so that their son can watch over the school for many years to come. And it's cute, and I love them.
They're really good.
Up next is Yukari, representative of the Lovers Arcana. Her link starts with her trauma bonding about having dead parents with Totino's, and as it progresses, she opens up about her complicated relationship with her mom. Her mom is basically completely absent and only cares about her new boyfriends and not Yukari, so far as telling Yukari that she's going to get remarried to her new boyfriend via a by-the-way phone call. And Yukari does not take it very well. In having all of this going on at home has her masking her true self in front of people, but she feels like she doesn't have to do that with Totino's. Later, her mom calls her back and says that she's been thinking and that she's been selfish and won't get remarried until Yukari is okay with it and wants to talk to Yukari about it. Yukari is nervous to have the talk with her mom because it'll have a lot of big feelings and maybe a shouting match, but being with Totino's has showed her that she doesn't need to run away from scary things. She says that she's been getting jealous of all the time that he's been hanging out with Fuka, which made her realize that she loves him and wants him to only have eyes for her. Totino says, okay, despite absolutely dating every other girl in school at this point.
I really like Yukari, and I think the element of of all the different romance options, she's the most just flat out just like very jealous of them. And I think that's an interesting character trait. But I also I don't love in romantic situation like storytelling when it's like, oh well, you love a person because you feel that the sign is that you feel really jealous if they show affection for anyone else. I'm like, that's not I don't think that's great actually.
Yeah, it's not very good. They head back to Yukari's room where Yukari gives Totina her her cell phone strap, which is a special keepsake to her.
Literally. Especially with me playing with the girl main character mod with Katone. It's like, oh dear.
In March, she asks Totino's to come with her when she talks to her mom because apparently...
And if I were Totino's, I would again be fucking terrified.
Absolutely. Having Totino's with her will help her treat her mom with kindness and make the conversation go smoother. She asks Totino's if they'll be together in the future, and he says, "Yeah, definitely, absolutely, definitely past tomorrow too." And she invites him to an overnight stay at Destinyland in one hotel with one bed. She says that his eyes look a little droopy and asks if he needs some rest. And he says maybe later. Up next is Kazushi, the track teammate, representative of the Chariot Arcana. His social links revolve around him and his bum knee getting in the way of his track performance. And Totino's is a real shitty friend and keeps encouraging him to push himself through it. After his doctor tells him to stop, Kazu says no. He promised his nephew, who hurt his legs and can't walk, that if Kazu becomes number one in Japan, the nephew will then agree to go to rehab, even though it hurts. So Kazu keeps pushing through the pain, trying to be a good role model, but the coach and the nurses are onto him and they ask him to stop. He tells them what's going on, so they reach a compromise that he can run in regionals and they'll see how it goes from there. But if anyone sees him having a hard time at all, to stop him immediately for his own sake. After a few more practices of pushing through it, Kazu decides that he's being selfish, bringing the team down and putting himself at risk, just to prove that he can push through without surgery. So he's instead going to get the surgery, talk to his nephew, and instead of promising to make it to nationals, he'll promise that he'll go to rehab with him. In March, Kazu gets the test results, and rehab was 100% effective, and he can run again. He apologizes
That was
for
fast.
being very fast,
Right?
For me, I finished Kazu's stuff a long time ago, so it's like, oh, 6 months later, yeah, sure, that makes sense. But like, you could have finished this on January 31st.
It's like, damn, surgery, recovery, physical therapy, 2 months.
Good job,
I guess Japan has good healthcare.
right? He apologizes for being selfish, and he can't imagine how bad things would have been if he kept running through the pain. He says that it's all because of Totino's that he's changed, and I'm like, when?
Is it?
All of the answers were to encourage you to push through the pain. Totino's was a very bad friend in the social link. He did nothing to help you.
Kaz talked through things with Totino's, and
Mhm.
maybe just he had to get stuff off his chest in order to come to the realization himself. Which very much he came to the realization himself and was pressured into coming to that realization by the doctor and the nurse and everything. But
yes. Up next is Chihiro, the student council treasurer, representative of the Justice Arcana. Chihiro's arc revolves around her being afraid of men, especially older men, as her father has a fiery temper and takes it out on Chihiro often. She slowly starts opening up to Totino's over their shared love of manga, but her androphobia gets her in big trouble when she delivers a large sum of money to a male teacher and it goes missing. We don't know that it was a male teacher that she was afraid to confront him until the rank 9 scene, but it makes more sense to put it in here in the summary. She spends the arc just promising that she didn't do it, and Totino saying that he believes her. Everyone says that she did it because she was talking about a manga collection she wanted to buy but couldn't afford the same day that the money went missing. She swears she didn't take it, and Totino stays by her side and deflects some rumors and bullies and shit, and eventually helps her decide to crack the case of the missing money herself, since weeks later, or months later, it still hasn't shown up. She and Totino's go to Mitsuru, who is the student council president, and Mitsuru believes that Chihiro didn't do it, so she and Totino's will meet up at the dorm and come up with a game plan. But to keep the information secure, Mitsuru and Totino's will have to convene in Mitsuru's bedroom for their meeting. Chihiro doesn't like the idea of Totino's being alone with Mitsuru in her room, so she gets a sudden burst of confidence and storms to the faculty office to confront the male teacher. She's like, I fucking gave it to you, and I know that I did because yada yada yada, and rattles off details of their interaction. And the teacher was like, yeah, I'm sorry, it's at my house. The payment deadline was pushed back, so I figured I had time, and then I just kept forgetting, and I still haven't remembered to bring it to school, and I haven't said anything while all these rumors are flying that you stole it.
Isn't it Ikoda in this scene?
I don't
No.
think it's Dakota.
No,
I
it's
think
not Dakota.
No,
a
it's
different
another
teacher.
guy who looks sort of similar.
Yeah.
None of the teachers are very. It's Takinazuka in this scene. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of teachers at the school who suck ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of their names start either with an E or a T. So good luck.
It's
Yeah.
very
Edagawa,
relatable.
Teruchi.
It's very relatable to have a situation with a with like stressing over something like this for so long and just letting it become a bigger problem, and then someone else so it comes along and it's just like, wait, if I just confronted this from the very start, it would have been okay, and there was actually no, like, I just put myself in this problem. God damn it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
way too relatable.
I love this scene of Chihiro being confident and telling Takinozuka that he sucks and everything.
It's
Mhm.
good.
Absolved of her crime and riding high on her newfound confidence, she takes Totino's to the roof where she confesses that she's fallen in love with him. Totino's reciprocates, and Chihiro finally purchases that manga collection because she's been saving the whole time, and she gives Totino's a copy of the manga for him to read, and also perhaps her virginity.
Oh, if you don't romance her because you don't like her, like me,
And like me. I like her
she
fine, but
she goes back to the store and it's not there.
Oh, wild.
And I'm like, man, I wish I'm always walking around with 1,000,000 yen. I wish I could have just spotted
Bought
you
it
the
for
money
her.
for it while it was still in stock.
Like, spoilers for Tanaka later, but he's like, I think I'm going to do a big donation of 10 million yen. And I'm like, I have 10 million yen. Am I rich? Can I just give them 10 million yen? Uh, in March, she sees a flyer for an expose on the dark history of student-teacher romance, and for some reason, she disagrees with that concept and says that she's going to write a letter of protest. She tells,
Yeah, she says something like they shouldn't make fun of it or something, and I'm like,
yeah, like everyone has the right to love who they love, and it's like, yeah. But she tells Totino that it's because of his help that she's become assertive, and that she has so many places that she like to see as long as she can go with him. Next is Maya, our online friend, representative of the
yes.
Hanazakana.
Yes.
We've talked at length about how great Maya is and how she's the drunk fail woman teacher who spends all of her time playing MMOs before the one that she shares with Totino's is shut down. In March, Totino's heads into the faculty room to talk to Miss Toriumi and overhears her talking to Miss Teriuchi. Teriuchi says that Toriumi has been so professional lately and her lectures have all been top-notch, and that something about her has changed. Toriumi says that she decided to stop wasting time looking at only what's right in front of her. When she was goofing off one weekend, she met someone who helped her take a closer look at her life. Totino's is like, oh, she's busy, I'll come back later, but drops his cell phone. She picks it up for him and notices his phone wallpaper, which is a picture of Maya's message. I, read downward, love you. She freaks out, and Teruchi says that it's cute. Totino says that his girlfriend wrote it for him, and Toriumo flips the ever-living fuck out as she pieces together that Totino's was Tetsuya.
It's so fucking funny. It is so, like, girl, yeah, that's fair. If I found out if I was teaching one of my students, like, yeah, no, that her extreme reaction is hilarious but warranted.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Toriumi's voice actor is just so good, and
Good.
I was wondering, have I seen her in anything else? And it turns out she's Finiko in Agretzko.
Oh, makes sense. Yeah.
The best character in Agretzko?
Yes.
Ha 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 ha. So Totina says, hi, Maya, and she flips out some more and then calms herself down. She says that there was something that she wanted to tell Tatsuya if she ever saw him face to face, and it's this. I've been able to turn my life around because of you. Thank you. She then shyly asks if they should have dinner, but then realizes that's fucked up, and she changes her mind. She says, to hell with this, it's too embarrassing, and she sends Totino's out of the office.
And then in the canon of a really great ongoing webcomic, she's like, actually, I think I'm a lesbian, and she moves to the city where Persona 5 takes place and starts a relationship with Becky by hiring her as an escort, and it's incredible.
That's amazing. Up next is Keisuke, the art club president, representative of the Fortune Arcana. Inside of Keisuke is two wolves. One wolf loves to paint, and the other wants to take care of people and be a doctor, like his father before him. As the link progresses, the two wolves butt heads, and they fight amongst themselves. Keisuke's father asks him to quit the art club so he can focus on getting ready for medical school and take over the family hospital. So Keisuke makes a bet with his dad. His painting has been accepted into a prestigious competition, and if he wins, he can stay in the art club. His painting not only wins an honorable mention, but he's also offered the chance to study abroad for art. His dad is super supportive, but Keisuke is a little shit who doesn't want to do it just because his dad wants him to. But that seems to be a front because he's just conflicted because of the two wolves inside him. Studying abroad would be awesome, but there would be no going back in regards to running the hospital. He eventually decides that he is going to study abroad because he already said that he didn't want to be a doctor, and the concept of hobbies mean nothing to this man. And then a box falls on Totino's head, and he's rushed to the nurse's office. Keisuke had put the box up there, so he feels responsible, and he hated seeing someone that he cared about being hurt and being unable to help them. And does that mean that he wants to be a doctor? But no, it can't be, because that's what his dad wants. So the only logical thing to do is run away from home so that he can make his own decisions. So he buys a ticket to leave, but at the station, someone keels over with a bad cough and fever. So Keisuke helps them get to the hospital with plenty of time to make his train. But then someone else is having a heart attack. So Keisuke overruns to get the paramedics again, even though his train is about to leave. But the man starts to get worse, so Keisuke has no choice but to perform first aid and save the man's life, which caused him to miss his train completely. He then decides...
I like to imagine that this wild coincidence was actually these were actors paid by his father to get him to become a doctor.
That's canon now. Yes. Yeah. As someone who completely skipped his entire Arcana, just because I always had more interesting ones to be doing, and I just never set aside the time. And then I ran out of years and days in the year. Everything you're describing sounds like a fever dream.
Also, I don't know. Maybe if I knew the readings, the meanings of Tarot Arcana more, it would make sense. But as far as I can tell, he's the Fortune Arcana because in one dialogue box, he mentions he is gonna buy some fortune-telling books or something to help him make his decision.
Yeah. And that's it. He then decides that having a hobby is okay, and he really does want to be a doctor, and it's not just his dad pressuring him. So he's going to quit the art club, catch up on the studies that he's been ignoring, so he can get ready for the entrance exams. He thanks Totino's for making him more confident and able to choose things for himself. In March, it turns out that he failed his entrance exam and didn't get into medical school. And
holy shit.
He didn't have any backup plans, so he's going to have a whole nother year of studying for med school and will apply again next spring. He could have studied abroad and then gone back to med school. It's kind of hilarious.
This kid.
He sucks so bad. My favorite thing about him sucking and Hidetoshi sucking is in all of the like school trip scenes and stuff, your school social links get paired up to be like their friends outside of you, and it's Hidetoshi and Keisuke, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not seeing what they're talking about. I don't care. you couldn't make me open this text box.
I gotta say, that reminds me, in Kyoto, I love Bebe's dialogue there.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's so good.
As I'm like, yeah, if I were in Kyoto, I'd probably be the same way. I'd be freaking out too.
I love Bebe.
Mm-hmm. More on him in a second. But first, we have to talk about Yuko, the team manager representative of the Strength Arcana.
Love her as well.
Her link revolves around her not wanting to think about the future and just focus on the here and now. And 1 week after we hang out, she runs into one of the kids that lives on her block who's playing tag in Polonia Mall because they've been chased out of the park in their neighborhood by older kids. The older kids said that the younger kids could use the park if they beat them in a race. So Yuko takes the younger kids to the track to practice and coaches them. After a bunch of coaching sessions, the kids win the race and end up being friends with the bigger kids. Yuko takes Totino's back to her room to celebrate, platonically so far. But then while talking about the kids, Yuko accidentally says that their kids should take after Totino's and not after Yuko. The next time they hang out, Yuko says that the experience with the kids has helped her realize what she wants to do in the future, and she wants to be an athletic trainer so that she can help athletes be the best they can be. She says that if Totino's wasn't there to help, she doesn't think she would have stuck through it all and figured out what she wanted. Totino says that it's because he loves her, and she's like, oh my god, I can't fucking believe this is finally happening. Me too. They head back to Yuko's room where she gives him a thank you letter from the kids, and then they bone. In March, she doesn't hang out with Totinos. She has to go study because her grades really, really suck, and she now cares about getting into college, so she has to go study a lot, and you don't get to hang out with her, and it's great. Up next is Maiko, the girl at the shrine, representative of the Hanged Man Arcana.
She is so cute.
She's so cute.
We already talked a bunch about her social link and about how her parents are getting a divorce, and she's struggling with it because her parents are focused on the fighting and not focused on the kid. So she decides to run away from home, and when she does, Totinos helps her parents find her and convince her to come back. In the end, she decides to go live with her mom, even though that means having to move far away. So in one of the most cutely written interactions in the game, at her rank 10 link, she makes Totinos play on every part of the playground with her, so they'll have lots of fun and never forget her. She says that when she grows up, she wants to marry Totinos and gives him a kiss on the cheek before leaving with her mom and not returning. In March, her dad is at the shrine, and he recognizes Totinos and treats him to some takoyaki and catches him up on Maiko. She sent a letter to her dad, which says that she's made a lot of new friends, she's in charge of the rabbits at her new school, she's getting good at playing the recorder, has lots of fun with her friends every day at the park. He then feels bad about how much shit he and Maiko's mom put Maiko through just because of their own problems and wonders if she'll be okay. But then, in one of his famous temper tantrums, he chews out Totinos because in the letter, she wrote that she's drinking lots of milk so she can grow up big and strong so that she can marry Totino someday. And he doesn't give Totinos a chance to say anything about it, and instead just assumes that he was playing with the child because he's a creepo, and not because, I don't know, he was an older, caring person in her life when she didn't have any of those. He says that he'll never let Totinos marry Maiko, and runs off with Totinos just standing there like, okay.
It's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us to Bebe, the transfer student representative of the Temperance Arcana.
Love him.
We love him so
him.
much. So we've sung his praises often before, up to and including him deciding to make a kimono to convince his uncle to let him stay in Japan after his aunt dies. In the end, he completes the kimono, but must still return to France in order to give it to his uncle, and then he promises to return one day. He thanks Totino's Dono for being a Jitsu no Tomodachi, a true friend, and he will kaerimasu to return one day. In March, Mr. Ono receives a letter from some Andre Laurent Jean Garrix or something sent to the school addressed to Totinos. In the letter, he says that his uncle saw the kimono and he loved it, and he agreed to let Bebe go back to Japan, but in the end, Bebe decided not to go. His uncle has not taken the death of his wife so well, and Bebe knows that he wouldn't be happy in Japan knowing that his uncle was all alone. So he's staying to take care of his uncle. He took what he learned in Fashion Club and enrolled in a fashion high school and is doing well with his signature design, the Totino's DiGiorno. He says that no matter how far apart they are, he'll always be there.
Baby, I wonder if there's going to be any legal issues with you naming your design that.
No, he's in France. It's only if he goes to America.
Oh. It's only Totinos if it comes from the Totinos region of America.
Yeah. So that brings us to Tanaka, the businessman, representative of the Devil Arcana. Oh, Tanaka.
Based. Oh, that's so based.
So we already spoke about how he only will start his social link after he scams Totinos out of 40,000 yen. And then he spends all of his social links giving Totinos quote-unquote business advice, which is basically just lie and don't get caught. But as a undercurrent through all of them, you find out that Tanaka grew up dirt poor, so he's really attached to his money because he worked so hard for it. After spending time with Totinos and having a near miss with a lawsuit, he realizes that kids maybe don't actually suck that much, and he should invest 10 million yen into a charity for kids who are less fortunate, so that they too can grow up to be rich and then take care of Tanaka in his old age, since they'll all love him for his investment. In March, there's a news report on Tanaka's amazing commodities. Apparently, he's made some huge expense that's causing a stir in the media, but no one is sure what he spent it on. Everyone is sure he's doing something shady and capitalist with it, but now we go live on the scene to Tanaka himself, who just sings the amazing commodities jingle and tells people to buy his products because his conscience is now clear. The reporters have no idea what that means, but they hope that he's donating it all to charity.
It's very funny, but also this man truly is the devil.
So I was wondering about the dono honorific that Bebe uses for
Mhm.
Totino's, and apparently it is a weird, obscure, like sort of outdated one that roughly means lord or master, but does not imply noble status.
Mhm.
So he's just being overly honoring to Totino's in a weird way, which is good.
Yeah, I was curious what his dialogues were like in Japanese because like all of Mitsuru's French is English in Japanese, so I was wondering what it was like for Bebe. So I looked it up, and somebody said that he mostly talks in a mix of broken and archaic Japanese, often missing particles, and uses obsolete pronunciations. The most notable thing though is that he'll often use unnecessary kanji for things that are normally in hiragana, but on top of that, all of the hiragana and katakana in his dialogues are swapped. So his loan words are in hiragana and his regular Japanese words are in katakana, making it look very, very stupid and kind of hard to read, but still easy to read at the same time. And
That's so funny.
that's so good.
I love how with the Japanese writing system you can do little weird things like that.
hmm I was playing Tokimeki Memorial 2, and all of the like because you start it when you're like in kindergarten or whatever, all of the kindergartners speak in only hiragana, and all of the teachers speak in like regular kanji and hiragana mix, and it's very good. It's like, oh yeah, they don't know their kanji yet because they're kids.
Hmm.
I love it so much.
Also, I'm sorry. One thing I found out is looking at this Wikipedia page for Japanese honorifics. It looks like tan or tan is
Uh-huh.
an extremely diminutive suffix. So Junpei calling Yukari Yucatan is
Mhm.
rude.
Yeah.
I mean, she definitely is. I love her. She's kind of earned it, but also, it's not as if this is a one-sided "fuck you."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that brings us to Mutatsu, the unusual monk representative of the Tower Arcana. He
He's
sits
the
up.
whole thing.
He's a whole thing. He sits upstairs at Club Escapade every night, getting drunk because his wife and kid left him. He's real annoyed that Totino's keeps coming to see him, but as the link progresses, he opens up more. He gives Totino's life lessons that all amount to don't give a shit about life, it's not worth it, everything sucks, my son sucks, and I definitely don't miss him at all, I promise. Uh, one night, he's absolutely plastered more than normal, and he thinks that Totino's is his son, and chews him out for being late, making his old man worried. He snaps out of it and apologizes for the mistake and tells him about how his wife and son left him 4 years ago because he was always so busy, leaving them home alone at all hours of the night. They haven't spoken to him since, so he's been coming to Escapade to just drink his problems away. His temple has been super busy because someone dies every day, so he's been working himself to the bone. Totino asks him if it's time to retire, and he says maybe so, and that he's going to find his wife and son, get some land, retire, and be with them. He hires a detective to try and find them and is going to go out after them and apologize to his wife and try and work things out. In March, Mutatsu has been leaving messages at Club Escapade for Totino's to check on how he's doing, and he left a message saying that he found his wife and son, and because of Totino's, he realized that he should swallow his pride and apologize. And so, even though his son is still a punk and his wife is still frigid, they've reconciled and they're back together again. So, up next is Mamoru, the rival athlete, representative of the Star Arcana.
And runner up for most depressing social link, in my opinion.
It's pretty depressing.
So in his social links, he keeps challenging Totino's to various eating challenges, like eating takoyaki the fastest, things like that. He can afford to eat at all these places because they let him eat for free because all of the shit that he's going through. He's got 4 younger siblings living with him and his mom in a tiny apartment after his dad died 5 years ago, and Mamoru is taking care of them all. He's pushing himself in track because he might be able to win a scholarship and get into college, which he never thought that he could afford. One time when we're supposed to go shopping together, Mamoru doesn't show up. He calls Totino's and says that his mom fainted because she's been working nonstop doubles to pay the bills for all 5 kids, and is now trying to refuse treatment at the hospital because they can't afford the medical bills. Mamoru picks up the slack while she's in the hospital and starts cooking and cleaning and taking care of the family, but since his mom can't work, shit is really, really hard. So he hasn't been able to practice for track, not that it matters, because even with the scholarship, now they can't afford it at all. He says that he wanted to run one final time at a big track meet, but now he can't. But Totino's encourages him to go out with a bang. He runs in the meet, wins first place, but turns down the scholarship and decides to get a job at the car factory his dad used to work at. He thanks Totino's for helping him keep perspective and for being there when shit was super hard, and he heads out west to work in the factory. In March, Mamoru sends a letter to the school for Totino's and tells him how things are going at the factory. His manager heard that he was a track star and how much he missed it, so they started a track team at work, though most people are in it just for fun. His mom is getting better, and she's been put in a long-term care facility, and friends and relatives come by all the time to help Mamoru take care of his siblings. So life is actually going pretty great, and it's all thanks to Totino's.
And Mamoru seems pretty content with where things end up, but I'm just like, man, capitalism really just screwed over this family, and this kid who was like set to be Japan's greatest track star couldn't experience the full potential of that because he had to do something else because society wasn't there for them.
Yep. It sucks. Shoutouts to the Iwatodai food court for letting him and his siblings eat for free, though.
Yeah, no, that was dope.
Speaking of eating, up next is Nozomi, the Gourmet King, representative of the Moon Arcana.
This guy.
Why did I do his entire Arcana? Or his entire social link? Why?
So,
because it's available all the time.
Exactly.
Because he doesn't have anything else going on.
So his social links all have him taking Totino's to various eateries, all the while being not normal about how hot Totino's is, and making a lot of gross noises and fat jokes that aren't funny, just extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Some shady...
uncomfortable or infuriating. Take your pick.
The uncomfortable ones are the ones where he just keeps talking about having to take a shit. The only thing wrong with me is I'm fat are the infuriating ones. But some shady dudes come up to Nozomi being like, give it to me, you know what I'm here for, and Nozomi ducks away from them and is like, I have no idea what that's about. Maybe they're assassins trying to kill the Gourmet King. As the link progresses, you find that Nozomi has been collecting money from elementary school kids so that they can get into paradise, unlike his non-believer twin brother. He tells us that the world is going to end soon, but he'll be recreating it for the survivors as paradise, a world where everyone has wings and a perfect body. But to get into paradise, you have to do good works to the tune of 132,000 yen.
It's very funny. The scene is very funny if you wait to do Nozomi until December, January. And he's like, the world is going to end soon. And you're like, wait, what? You know about this? The scene doesn't actually change, but the context of it makes it funny.
When he gets to paradise, he won't be inferior to his brother anymore, so people won't be ashamed to be seen with him. One of his victims' parents hire some thugs to beat Nozomi up and get the money back, and so they approach Nozomi pretending to join his cult, and Totino's is like, alright, cool, go scam them then, which causes the social link to reverse, and he storms off with his new recruits. But Totino's recognizes them as the thugs, and he follows after them to stop them from beating Nozomi up, which restores the social link. It's a very good use of game UI.
It is.
The victim's dad calls off the thugs and tells Nozomi to just knock it off and never show his face around here again. Nozomi opens up to Totino's about how his hot, cute, attractive, and hot twin brother died of food poisoning, and everyone liked his brother better. So he'd been trying hard to be just like his brother, doing martial arts and exercising and joining a cult that says that he can get a hot body. Totino's is like, you're not your hot brother, just be yourself. And he's like, oh, weird, never thought of that. I guess I'll just be myself and I'll be the real Gourmet King one day. In March, there's a food magazine interviewing the birthplace of King Suimitsu and all of the local restaurants that he came in contact with. The Wakatsu, Hagakure, and Chagall Cafe employees all mention how he's an eccentric weirdo, but he knows his shit about food. And after taking the tips that he gave them, their businesses have been doing even better than before. They are even going to build a statue of Nozumi in the food court at Iwatodai to honor him. The interviewer sees Totinos is like, "Oh hey, do you know him?" And Totinos says, "He's our best friend." And she's like, "Okay, I guess you don't know him. Run along, kid." And doesn't interview him.
I think at the very end of his social link, there's some good characterization and stuff, but yeah, most of it is just like, oh my god.
Yeah. And the voice actor does a very good job of making you hate Nozomi. Like,
he does a very good job of being someone I hate. And also I think of having a humanity to him at the end where he actually, like in the very final scene, talks about his feelings.
Yeah. So that brings us finally to Akinari, the Sun Arcana, known in the UI as the Dying Boy.
Oh, and winner for most depressing social link.
Yep.
So Akinari is a very sickly boy who hangs out at the shrine on Sundays, and Totinos sits with him and talks with him. Akinari has a terminal hereditary disease and is real depressy about it, but he's thankful that Totinos doesn't look at him with pity like everyone else does. He likes to read and use stories as an escape, and his favorite kind of stories are happy and hopeful ones, because when they're over, they give him a little bit of hope and warmth in his normally sad and depressing life. But none of them are written for people like him, so he decides to write his own story about a pink alligator who makes a friend with a bird who can't fly. The alligator and the bird would hang out at the watering hole, but because the pink alligator is so brightly colored, he sucks at hunting because his prey keeps escaping, so he's so hungry that he accidentally eats the bird. He realizes his mistake right away and vomits up the bird, but it's already dead. Akinari isn't sure how to finish the story because he doesn't know the meaning of his own life yet, so he's trying to figure himself out so that he can finish the story, but his condition worsens so far that the doctors say that operating on him and medicating him isn't even worth it, that he should just get comfortable as he dies. Before he goes, he does finish the story. The alligator is so sad that he ate his friend that he cried and cried until his tears became a lake, around which grew delicious fruit that animals came from far and wide to eat. So the alligator didn't find meaning to his life, but other people did, and Akinari feels the same way. He feels that his life doesn't have meaning for himself, but he's aware of how he affects the people around him. And in the end, because of his friendship with Totinos, he's glad to have been born and feels that his life may have had meaning after all. In March, there's a lady sitting at the shrine where Akinari used to hang out. It's Akinari's mom. She says that the disease that he had was genetic, and she knew about it his entire life, and she blamed herself for all of the pain he had. But towards the end, he said that he's glad to have gotten his 19 years as her son, and that he's sorry that she's been in pain. So now that he's gone, she's going to go to so many places and do so many things so that when they're reunited on the other side, she'll have so many stories to tell him about all of the things that he didn't get to do. She tells Totinos to keep the notebook with the children's story in it because Akinari would have wanted it that way and leaves. For that to be the one I had to write this morning, having a dead child myself, who I name all of my video game characters, including my Totinos after. Yep, that one's fun. You gotta love it.
I'm really sorry. That sucks, man.
But this is Persona 3 Reload. So even though we're out of social links, we're not out of linked episodes. So there's some more epilogues to talk about. Junpei talks about how Toriumi asked him what his plans for senior year were, and he's like, I don't know, which landed him a huge lecture. He also talks about how Kenji is excited about the new teachers, but Junpei doesn't care because he's already got a girlfriend. Wait, does he? He swears he's not making it up, but for some reason he was sure that he had a girlfriend, and he feels like he's forgotten something important, and says, hey Totinos, we can hang out later, after you go rest. You look fucked up. Akihiko talks to Totinos about how he's getting nostalgic for school because it's his last day before graduation, and it's weird because for all 3 years of school, the only thing he did was boxing, right? He's not forgetting something else that he did all 3 years, is he? Oh well, he's probably just remembering that time they made pancakes with his dorm mates. Also, Totinos, you should exercise more. You look like you're kind of fucked up a little.
Before I forget, I wanted to say, because I just was able to find out who it was. So the voice actor for Akinari's mother does a really good job. Really one of those I'm gonna have one scene, so I'm gonna really go for it
Yeah,
situations.
absolutely.
The voice actor was Cindy Robinson, who notably is the current voice of Amy Rose.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
And was also apparently the original voice of Ken Amada. And
interesting.
maybe Labris, who I believe is the character that shows up in the answer and is like, "Hey, I'm here now."
I think so.
Or wait, maybe she only voices Ken in Persona 3 Dancing in Moonlight. I don't know. I'm as we've discussed before, people Googling things is not great radio, so we can just move on.
um, Speaking of Ken, though, Ken asks us if we remember Aragaki-san, that guy who lived with us in the dorm for a few months. He's not sure why, but Aragaki has been on his mind a bunch the last few weeks, and whenever he thinks about him, there's a searing pain of loss in his chest, as if he's forgotten something important. But he's rambling. That's not important. He thanks Totino's for always listening and treating him like an adult, and asks him if he's feeling okay, because things kind of seem off with him. So Totino's heads back to the dorm, where he finds Koromaru, and Koromaru looks concerned because Totino's doesn't look very well. Totino says that he's fine and he'll rest and get better, which cheers Koromaru up. Totino asks Koromaru to come inside, but Koromaru won't budge from his sentry outside of the dorm, also as if he's protecting it from something.
Dogs don't need an actual enemy. They can imagine one.
Yes. After talking to everyone and each person reminding Totino's that he looks like shit and should go home and get some rest, he heads home to get some rest. When he arrives in his room, he gets a text message. The sender is left blank, but it just says, "Thank you." And as a hint in the UI, normal NPCs will text you and it'll be blue. Your teammates will text you and be their signature color. And then when Ryoji would text you, it would be black. And this is a black text that says "thank you." The next morning, Igus comes to Totino's room. She says that she remembers everything, and when she did, she was so worried that something would have happened to Totino's, so she came right away to see him. Totino says that he remembers too, and they remember that they need to meet everyone on the roof on graduation day, so they head up there to wait for them. At graduation, Mitsuru gives her valedictorian speech. It's the same one from the bad ending, but when she gets to the part where she says that her father died of a sudden illness, she stops. It wasn't a sudden illness, was it? She remembers everything now. She continues her speech, changing it to be about how she won't be afraid of the future, no matter what it brings, because of the strength of her bonds of friendship. This sparks remembrance in Yukari, Junpei, Fuka, and Akihiko, and from somewhere else, Kin and Koromaru remember, and they rush to the high school as well. Mitsuru jumps off the stage, and everyone says they remember everything, and they have to hurry to the roof because they are waiting on us. They just up and leave graduation, and you can hear, again, shoutouts to all of the off-screen voice actors in this game. They're fantastic. And they're just like, hey, this is a ceremony. You can't just leave. So, meanwhile, we see Igus and Totino's on the roof, and Totino's is lying in Igus's lap. She talks about how she always wondered what it meant to truly live, and how she learned that every life is precious because it's temporary. When she couldn't protect everyone, she realized that protecting people wasn't just her programming, it was something that she wanted to do, something she chose to do. And now she's choosing to be by Totino's side and protect him, no matter what, till the end of time. Because if she does, then her life won't be a waste, it'll have meaning. She cries human tears, which, as we talked about last week, was the main thing that she was mad that she couldn't do. She could never be human because she couldn't even cry. But now she cries human tears, and Totino's wipes them away for her. Iga says that she understands now that she has friends who will be there for her through thick and thin. Not everything has to have some greater purpose, and just caring about someone can be enough to give our lives meaning. Totino's looks up to the sky, and Iga says that he must be tired, but it's okay. He can rest now, and she'll be right there. Totino's closes his eyes just for a little bit, and Aiga says that she'll protect him forevermore. The team arrives on the roof, and the credits roll. And plays
with an amazing song.
A fantastic
Very good.
song, which we will listen to right now and then talk about the whole thing.
風の声光の粒まどろむ君に注ぐ忘れない優しい微笑み形さ隠した瞳を願うことがでも立ち向かう勇気君にもらっただから行くね
Then I couldn't see any of the credits because I was too busy crying.
Man, the whole final scene with the music and the way they do the UI for the dialogue choices and the camera work and the voice acting and everything, it's just so good.
Yeah, in
it's
Fett,
so
I
good.
cried with it being the isometric top down view. Being able to like see Aiga's crying was too much for 12 p.m. on a Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting them to do a little more explicitly saying that Totino's is dead by the time his friends show up, because I didn't get that at all in the first one, and so I was wondering, like, did I miss it or not? But one of the dialogue choices is you can choose to close your eyes or don't, and so if you pick the one that says don't, there's nothing like implying that he's actually dead there, especially because in the post-credit scene, the gang walks up and they're laughing and real chill about seeing a dead body. It's kind of
Well, they
weird.
don't know he's dead.
Yeah, they just that's like the what really hit me. That's what got me. So I should say, usually I was playing Reload and then Portable. This time, for like timing reasons, I ended up playing Portable first and beating Portable before going to Reload. And beat Portable didn't really make me cry. It definitely affected me emotionally, but it didn't hit as hard. And then I was playing it in Reload, and like you said, the cinematography of the scene is really good. The angles are great. It just really hits harder from that. But I was just like left with this just feeling of like, oh wow. So I guess is just gonna be mourning me now, and also just like there's this element of Portable. I felt like this. I cannot point a reason as to why, but in Portable I had more of a feeling of like, okay, well, I mean, we don't know for sure that you're dead, and then in Reload it was like, oh no, this is really clear that you just died, and like it felt more clear to me, and it was just so. Like, oh, all of my friends are so excited. They just remembered all of our adventures. They're coming up to see me, and they're going to find me dead. They're going to just have their hearts broken. Fuck. This is so sad.
Yeah, it's good. It's real good.
It's really good. And it's the kind of good, like, I've been, unsurprising, since finishing the game, I've been reading a lot of Persona 3 fan. I was already reading what I could, but that wasn't too spoilery. But now I'm just digging in whole hog into what exists. And there's a lot of really good stuff. And like I get, especially being someone who has been at times in the Dongo Bongo Phantom, but I get why people are like, I want to do an AU where no one died and and everything's fine. And I get the urge to do that. But honestly, as much as I really get wanting to write a fic where it's like, actually, Totino / Katone didn't die, they're fine, everything's okay, I feel like that so misses the point of the game. Like, the game is about death and about having to just accept it and accept that that's going to happen and moving on as best you can. And, you know, that's why it works. The whole if the whole game hadn't built the death at the end up so well, it would not hit as hard, but it does.
Especially with me writing the notes for Akinari right before doing
Yes.
doing the ending where it's like, hey, even if your life ends, it doesn't matter if you make everyone else's life better. And then Totino's saved the whole fucking world, and
Yeah.
so it's okay that he died because he made literally everyone's life better, and
Yep.
it's so good.
Also, I will do a quick shout out though for kudos to the one author who at least came up with an interesting lore compliant way for Katone to survive, namely them transferring her soul for passed on into one of the shadow robots. So her being an android now, that's dope. That's actually really good.
It's also incredibly fandom compliant because that's almost the plot of the answer. It's not exactly it, but Aegis gets Totino's power to have multiple personas because of their bond. So it's almost like Totino's went into Aegis's body. So it's a very,
Oh
very
my.
Oh my.
he touched her butterfly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, this is more Katoni being like transferred into one of the ones that wasn't being used.
Yeah.
And then having really bad dysphoria of like, oh wow, I don't have meat brain anymore. I don't have nerves or anything. Fuck. But yeah. What else? Yeah, no, I cried a lot. It was a good ending. Really appreciate the ending of this game. This game is fucking great. It's really good.
Yeah, and the good ending is really, really good. And I also think that because I was just I did it last time because I was just trying to make content, and then I did it this time on purpose. Watch the bad ending before you get to the good ending, because seeing the differences in the two makes the good ending even better.
It does. Agreed. Mitsuru giving her speech and then like realizing partway through and just leaving is so well done. I love it. Also, I just want to call out briefly to the girl specific social links in Portable and like that blogs they get. Just you get a letter from Saori who had to move away because of parents strict or something. I don't remember the exact reason. It's just sweet, and the usual. The main character gave her the courage to stand up for herself when she didn't otherwise have it. And then the other is Rio, the chariot arcana for the girl protagonist, who her whole story arc was at first she was like, wow, I'm angry because none of my teammates take this sport seriously, and that's stupid and bullshit. I'm pissed off at them, and all they care about is romance. And then it's like, actually, your problem is that you're upset because you actually do have a crush on someone, and it's Kenji. And I'm like, no, please no.
No, save yourself.
Save yourself. Which doesn't go anywhere. And at the end it's just like it's just very much like she's just like, oh, I'm gonna spend time with my good friend who helped me figure out my problems. And I'm like, I'm definitely gonna be here in a couple days, yeah. And then there's probably something for Kenji's or Junpei's or Akihiko's or especially Ryoji's social links, because they're exclusive in some ways to the Portable Girl version. But I didn't do any of those because I didn't want to date them, and I didn't realize that you don't date Junpei until after I'd already not dated him or not done a social link, and I was like, oh, well, I'm already committed at this point. Bernard, what are you thinking? What are you feeling?
What I'm thinking is I've been clicking around random pages on the Megami Tensei wiki, and apparently in Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, it turns out Yukari was scouted to be the actress playing the role of Pink Argus in the Phoenix Ranger Featherman Victory show, and she wears a Featherman outfit in the game, and it's really funny to me.
It's really cool. I love it. She's literally like the Pink Ranger.
Yeah, it's great. I I love the Featherman just in universe thing, which also gets referenced in. I remember it being referenced in Persona 5. I don't remember if it's referenced in Persona 4. It probably is.
In Persona 5, one of the things on the TV in the cafe one day is an interview with Yukari Takiba, who's a breakout hit on superhero shows while also going to college.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just remembered like that scene where Futaba has the figures and stuff.
Oh, speaking of the figures, I didn't notice this throughout the year. I'm sure it's there. I just only noticed it here in the epilogue. But on Totino's shelf,
Yes,
he has like a model of the inn from Kyoto. He has a Featherman mask. He has a Christmas Jack Frost doll, and like a couple of he has a shell from Fukushima. And he has all of these different things, like souvenirs from the game, and I thought that was so cute.
Yeah, I like it.
It's really cute.
There
Also,
was something else I wanted to say before I got distracted by Yukari wearing this funny outfit. What was it? I don't remember.
I would say, you think the fact that Persona 5 references that's where she goes post time skip. That's so cool. I'm so happy that she gets to be an actress on this popular program and also dating a billionaire. That's so cool.
Oh, shit, I remembered, but then I forgot again. Shit. My brain don't work.
Mine neither.
This is why I sometimes don't have stuff for memorable moments, and instead I just shout them out during the regular segment.
Yeah. Understandable.
So I, as discussed frequently, I did the 100% run through this game, and I loved doing that. I love the fact that like I have absorbed all of Persona 3 into my being now, and it sucked some weeks where it's like, oh, on the 100% run you have to do 2 entire Tartarus runs, it just because of how it works out this time, and those things would suck and would take a long time, and it was kind of shitty to do it on a timetable, but I really liked being able to see everything and seeing all of the different things. The only thing I missed was I didn't use the cell phone. I used fast travel, and I wish I would have used the cell phone for more.
And it's a lot. I mean, I haven't actually done it, but I can assume it's a lot less annoying doing it in Reload than in the original versions, because in the original versions, if you want to do that, you've got to like save after Tartarus, be tired so that you can go to the nurse's office and get the concoction that raises your courage, and then you've got to save and reload until you're tired again and you don't get better, and you have to keep going until you get sick, and instead of getting better so that you can get all the free courage boosts.
Are you serious?
Is
What
the worst,
fuck?
and that's why you do not do a 100% run on your first playthrough. You wait and do New Game Plus so that
when you add in the jealousy and the stale mechanics for the social links, it's a lot more. Like this one, basically we did I unlocked social links when it would give me access to a persona faster with the level up bonus, so that I could have that be able to make it through better or whatever. But in the original, like you would have to time it out, being like, okay, you started Yuko's, you can't go 2 weeks without talking to Yuko, or your social link will reverse. So the routing is drastically different in the original than it is in this one. So I recommend doing it in Reload. I do not recommend doing it in FES.
Yeah, having not played FES but having played Portable, I definitely enjoyed Portable to some extent. Like, it's definitely still a fun game. Honestly, its biggest boost was just Katone is just a really good protagonist, and I liked getting to see what her story had. But yeah, I don't think I would be nearly as invested or in love with it if I hadn't played Reload. Reload is so good. Reload, I'm just gonna say, has made me a Persona fan, and I kind of love/hate that. But this game is just so thematically rich. It has so much going on, just to say. And it has a fantastic cast of characters, great voice acting. The myriad of quality of life improvements throughout the game are wonderful. I love the Monad Room doors and all the like shit that can give you. I love the as I'm learning now, having now going through Persona 4 Golden currently, the backwards integration of the Greater Arcana into Shuffle Time, and how they add those mechanics in and those slowly unlock over the course of the game. It's just good. It's just a really really good game. I also realized I have to say, because I talked at length last episode about my feelings about this, like what this game is saying politically, and how it digs into, on some level, like as a youth, the pull to just not think about larger issues versus your social responsibility step up. And I messaged, I think, both of you this in our chat, but I want to say it on air. I felt so stupid an hour after we were done recording when I suddenly was like, wait a minute, how'd I forget about apathy syndrome?
Yep.
Like, the existential threat ultimately is this people just becoming completely apathetic to everything, just sleepwalking through their lives, and that fits completely in with that metaphor and that analysis. It's so So yeah, I'm just gonna say that now. That also adds an extra layer to the whole thing. Also, I'm just gonna say, yeah, there's a lot of blank holes with Strega. There's a lot of areas where Strega could have been more seamlessly meshed with the canon in a way that would have made them less of a weird group who just sort of show up and do things for no reason. I don't honestly mind that at all. I think that this purpose Strega serves in the story, for all their plot contrivances, is, I think they work well as this weird mini boss squad who serve an emotional and thematic role, even if they're the lore of them is not detailed. I'm glad shirtless Jesus guy exists, even though at least 25% of the reason I'm glad he exists is so I can kick his ass.
I want to play Persona 4 and all of its spin-offs, and also Persona Q and all of its spin-offs, and then also Persona 5 so that I can understand what the Persona 4 references in the new added scenes with Strega mean.
Yeah.
And if they're trying to make the one game without people's shadows to have people's shadows in it, I kind of want to know what's all of that. So it might have just been there to be a reference, but it felt like he was figuring something out about the Persona universe. And
I am 100% certain that each Persona game does not take place in a universe which makes sense with the other Persona games, and there are just references between them for fun.
I'm not gonna go that far. I am going to say, as I am playing Persona 4 Golden right now, I'll report back at some point if I do find any connection between those new references from Reload. I will also say, honestly, as much as I am excited to go through and form my own opinions on 4 and on 5 Royal, this feels so silly, but I might be the most excited to finish both, just so I can play Q2. And Q1, but Q2 just sounds so good. It sounds so cool. Yeah. I love that it's the only other game in this series. I don't love this, but it's the only other game in this series that gives my girl Kotone any love, and she gets apparently a lot of focus and a whole plot about being the weird, like, from the universe that is like the Reload universe where she doesn't exist, and it's like, wow, all the people I know and love don't know I exist. This really sucks.
I want to go back and finish Persona 3 Dancing, because you get all of your social links, but like in the weird contrivance of we're all having the same dream, and for some reason it's about dancing situation. But I just want to hang out with my friends some more, and also, as a rhythm game, that game rules.
It's really weird that Persona 4 dancing has a very elaborate story mode, which is canon, and not just you hang out with your friends and have some cute scenes with them. A huge elaborate story mode,
Mm-hmm.
um,
I love that.
which it's just wild. Also, it's weird that apparently Persona Q2 does not have a dub.
Yeah,
It is.
it came out after the Switch, and so Atlas was basically like, we don't have time to do the whole shebang, but
Yeah.
we know that this will sell, so we'll put it out now without a dub.
Yeah, they had
That makes
to
me a
cut
little
costs
sad,
somewhere,
but okay.
which is a shame
Uh,
because the voice acting in these games is good.
Mm-hmm.
regarding the dancing game, if I had a nickel for every time an established video game franchise did a dancing spinoff that has a weirdly well-developed story, considering it's just a dancing spinoff, I'd have at least 2 nickels, maybe more, but the only one I could think of otherwise is Mario. The one game in which Waluigi is in any way
Yes.
relevant to the plot.
Yes.
I didn't realize that dancing game had a plot in it.
It has a plot!
I'm going to go look
Waluigi
it up.
takes over the world with dancing!
One fun thing that I'll spoil for you about Persona 4 dancing all night is that Yosuke is the best dancer, which I find hilarious and appropriate somehow.
I mean, that so far of what I've seen from him. Yeah, no, that fits.
Yeah. He has to be good at something.
So Trish, to warn you to not make the mistakes that I did, if you go through the dancing games, don't download any of the DLC, because the DLC just gives you the songs from the other dancing games that if you want to play all of them, you will have to then go play a bunch anyways. So just buy the 3 games, don't download any of the DLC, because now I have no idea what happens in Persona 5 dancing, because in Persona 3 dancing, I bought all the Persona 5 songs. So now I don't ever want to do it again.
I
for
see.
The Persona 5 ones. So,
I have to ask, what is this like a DDR thing? Is it a rhythm?
It's a rhythm game, but it's its own thing. So you have the 6 buttons on the outside of your controller, and they'll start in the middle of the screen and go out to the outside ring, and you'll tap them in the right spot. But you also have like stick flicks in there and other sort of things to make it harder as it goes along. But it's DDR adjacent, but it's cool and circular.
I pre-ordered the special edition of the original Vita version of Persona 4 Dancing, and then I went to the Best Buy, and they were like, "I'm sorry, we ran out." And I was like, "But I pre-ordered it." And they're like, "Yeah, but we didn't have enough." And I was like, "But I pre-ordered it."
But you literally have a list of people that you should buy some for, and then buy a couple more. This is so dumb.
It made me sad. I think I did end up with a copy of the special edition somehow. I think maybe like they got me one from another Best Buy or something, but yeah.
Disappointing.
It was funny.
I'm trying to think of anything else to say about Persona 3.
There's a lot to say about Persona 3. It's good.
We've said
very, very
like
good.
9 or 10 episodes worth of things about it already, and I'm like, yeah, good game. I started using the soundtrack as a thing to listen to while I write, and it's very good for that.
Oh, speaking of its soundtrack, so this is something I absolutely love about Persona 3, and I've loved it ever since the beginning. But when you beat the game and you get to the credit song, you realize that about half of the songs in the game are all the same song. They're just different parts of Memories of You spread out and put into their own thing. This game and its leitmotifs are fantastic, up and down, left and right. Everything is so good, to things like in the bad ending where it plays the Tartarus theme as the credits theme, and like things like that. It shows up so often, and it's so good. I love when a game has 3 songs that is a 80 track OST. It's very, very good. Yeah, basically I think I think it might even do it better than the Star Wars soundtrack, because the Star Wars soundtrack also only has like 4 songs in it.
I love the way you're describing it is so accurate, but it just makes me think that like the Persona 3 soundtrack is the Stephen Sondheim musical of video game soundtracks. It's like, all right, I got like 3 leitmotifs and I'm gonna weave them together into a full soundtrack.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Yeah, if you for some reason weren't playing along with us, first off, go play the game, and second off, listen to the soundtrack because it's very, very good. But I think without doing another 10 episodes on how good this game is, I think I am about done of saying things about this game.
I think I am too. Yeah.
Yes. So,
You know
what
what,
game
you
are we
can-
going to be saying things about next?
That's
Yeah.
a good question.
So next we will be playing. Let me double check. I don't think I got any votes over the last couple of days. Oh, my poll has 2 new votes. But
Oh,
it's not enough.
But that's
We
not
will- That's not enough. We will be playing Legend of Legaia finally.
hell yeah!
And we'll be starting that next week because we murdered the movie nights because they weren't fun to do. They were fun to watch movies, but not fun to record the episodes. So, yeah, there's Persona 3 movies. If you want a wine with your meal, if you want a movie to watch, you should go watch the Persona 3 movies.
Honestly, when it comes to any of the adaptational spin-offs like that of Persona 3, the only one I actually have any interest in is I know there's some sort of audio drama, which I'm only interested in because I hear it is incredible Yukari Mitsuru shipping fuel. Which I love it when there's how often is there an anime that has an audio drama spin-off that is really gay shipping fuel? It keeps happening, and I love it.
But if you like what you heard, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club and toss us some cash to help us cover the cost of running the show. If you sign up for a monthly contribution, you'll get some extra benefits. At $1 a month, you'll get on the Gadabout tier, which gets you access to our bonus feed, where this week we have an episode to post. We're going to be posting a bonus episode in our Escape Pod series covering Star Ocean 2R. And then you also will get our after shows, which we'll be recording another one in just a second. You also get access to our polls to choose what games we play next. So thank all of you for voting for Legend of Legaia. If you update your donation to $5 a month, you'll be on the Warrior tier where you get all of the above, but I also will read out your name a little like this. I stupidly clicked over on this page to see if we had new votes. But I will read your name like this. Shouts to It's Clear Time, Frosthair, Dragonslayer 19, Florist, Kildron, Freddy Rodriguez, Aaron524, and Jfro Prime. And then at $20 a month, you are our luminary, and you can also shout out something each week. So shoutouts to El Tantavi, who wants you to check out aftermath.site, a worker-owned, reader-supported news site covering video games, the internet, and the cultures that surround them. And then shoutouts to Vimk, he wants you to play Legend of Legaia, and fine, we will. Jesus. And then
What
shoutouts
happens
to Tar-
after we play Legend of Legaia? Is it just going to keep that as the thing even after we've already covered it?
So Vimk messaged me and was like, even if a guy loses, I'll free you from this hell next week. And I was like, okay, thank you. But shoutouts to Carr, who's a dentist. So he isn't plugging a website, but rather your own mouth, and he says to brush your teeth twice a day. Most importantly, the time before you go to bed. For RPG Book Club, I've been Sam.
I'm Bernard.
And I'm Trish.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye-bye.